I have a question for chat for you here. This is a discussion that I kind of want to talk about and kind of maybe throw some ideas, theories, and things like that. Now, I wouldn't normally talk about this with any other games. I mainly kind of keep to most of my games, but because I'm talking about this really shows how much I really care about this game, about Coral Island, how much I really enjoy this game. I've mentioned it already that Coral Island has been one of my top 3 favorite farming games of all time. And I think with a little bit of critique and maybe theories and things like that, and things that we can maybe predict in the future, or maybe be right or wrong about things and maybe discuss it, I think it's very important with a game like this. I wouldn't waste my time, energy, or breath if I didn't care. Ultimately, I love the game and we are continuing to play the game, but I have a question and I have some discussion to talk about, and that is very simple. Somebody in the chat, can you answer me? Why did we end up resetting our saves for 1.0? Now, the whole thing is 1.0 came out. There was some new content that came out, and some of that content needed to be refreshed, and we needed to do a new game plus correct so that we could, I guess, go along with the story with the inputs of different dialogues, cutscenes, and things like that for the rest of the game, right? So what do you think, and why do you think Coral Island needed us to reset our saves? Now, there's a really specific reason why I'm bringing this up. And I'll get into that here in a sec, because it has to do with the roadmap of next year. They said they were doing it from scratch. Why did we reset? I have no idea. It seems the same to me so far. Hello, Spork. How are you? Good to see you. So some people seem like the 1.0 release has been kind of the same so far, right? There has been adjustments to the cutscenes. We can confirm that I think the main quest is still to be determined, as far as there is a limitation to where you can go with the main quest. At least this is what I'm hearing from the community, is that you get spoilers, you get to a certain point in the main quest and then it kind of stops and it's a work in progress. So yeah, the turtle talks to me now. Okay, there you go. 1.0. Turtle talks to me now. It's completely, somebody says it's completely the same game. I heard that they had to release ASAP and Humble was going under, so needed the funds or would have to drop publishing. The devs just said the new saves weren't compatible with the old files. From here going forward, all new updates will be compatible with 1.0. Now, that is a very good point. That's a very good point. All saves and updates will be compatible with future updates, or at least your save files will be compatible with future updates. However, things change in development, and we've already seen that kind of in the past. Disney Dreamlight Valley said they were going to be free. They kind of went and changed their mind on that. So things change during development. I understand that. Now, the idea of people saying how maybe the game was a little bit rushed out for 1.0, maybe because of funding, maybe because of pressure from the publishers. Now, back when this game first dropped in early access, I predicted this game would be released in March of 2024. Obviously, that's 5 months earlier than what I predicted, but we still don't have a Switch release. And as far as the PlayStation and Xbox releases go, they have been nothing short of a buggy mess since the launch. And Stairway has came out and said, yes, we've kind of messed up and we are trying to fix this as much as we can. So, with that being said, it's just kind of a very much early 1.0. Now, we have this giant roadmap in front of us for 2024, and it does include quite a bit of stuff. But the whole point is, why did we have to reset the 1. Or why did we have to reset our saves for 1.0, right? Now, my idea here, 1.0 doesn't mean finish. We'll probably have many updates going forward. Yes and no. 1.0 should be finished, and then additional stuff should be added. I think, personally, I think 1.0 does mean a finished product. Things later on will be added on top of that. Now, if the main quest isn't fully finished, that could be a problem, right? You seem to be able to start a relationship with the merfolk, still have locks on their friendship levels. And that kind of brings...
subscriber!
Thanks for subscribing, Judy. That brings me to another thing that I'm going to bring up here. They had in early access some things that don't have it now in 1.0, and I think that is the point why they needed to reset the save files. And that's the point that I'm getting to. We have on the roadmap of 2024, I think, a pretty big update coming. It's not the, Halloween outfits for the NPCs. It's not the babies that will come. It's the revamp and restyle and restorytelling of the merfolk, right? So with New Game Plus, I had talked about how New Game Plus was not a feature, and it wasn't listed as a feature, but it kind of felt like it was supposed to be a feature, where New Game Plus was to keep your monies and start a new save from early access to full release. Now, full release players wouldn't actually get to use New Game Plus, only early access players would. Now, when they do decide to update the merfolk and the merfolk kingdom and redo all that, how is that going to affect our storylines? If we right now go through merfolk, right, and we do what merfolk is available to us right now, how will that change when it is all reworked and redone? Will we have to start a new save to be able to access the new merfolk content in 2024? I don't know if anybody's talking about that or if anybody's realizing that. Yes, they have said that they don't plan and there is no intention of restarting and having to restart any of your save files in the future, but things change in development, right? So I don't know how that's going to happen. Merfolk, new update, how will that translate with your old saves? I don't know. I really don't know. If we have to reset again, I'm going to be so annoyed. I'm just saying, it's a possibility. I don't, they say it's not going to happen, but I'm just trying to figure out how they can revamp the merfolk and not make us reset our save files again. Yeah. Isn't this stuff for 2024 other than Switch release things for stretch goals from stretch goals? They really should have waited until next year, though. It's it's a very thing, right? It's a very thing. So it should continue where it left off, but if they reset saves again, pretty sure people will riot. I mean, I agree. I think people would. But I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So let me go real quick, and I'm going to try to wrap my head around it even more. I'm going to try to read word for word on the roadmap of Coral Island about the Merfolk Kingdom. Right? Let's read about it. Let me read about this real quick, just so I can kind of clearly give you like an idea of what they are saying for the roadmap ahead for at least this merfolk, because I think it's a pretty big deal. So in 2024, obviously they're going to have children. They're going to have children. They're going to grow up, and we're going to get the Savannah access, right? That's going to come in 2024. Merfolk romance, merfolk relationships, merfolk festivals, merfolk storylines, and rebuilding merfolk kingdom storyline. That's revamping. I'm sorry if I don't take this. I mean, I'm taking this as an entire wipe, an entire revamp of the merfolk kingdom. I don't know how that's going to translate to your saves right now. I could be wrong. But that is everything that they have said. Rebuilding of the merfolk kingdom storyline and doing the entire merfolk storyline with the relationships, the romance, and the festival. I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty big deal. A pretty big game adjustment, because I feel like at least the merfolk are probably, I would say maybe a third of the game, a fourth of the game. They're a nice, significant, they're a significant piece of the game. So if you're going to redo that entire thing, how is that going to be from when that releases? Now, the merfolk stuff could release in March. It could release in June. It could release in September of next year. Any of these things. So it's just something to think about. I don't know if anybody has really mentioned this, but do I think, or is there a possibility that we will get a reset save again in the future? Even though they said that won't happen, obviously things change. I don't know. Something to think about, right? Yeah. Something to think about. Very, very good. They could have a split story where people who have already done one line would keep along that line but blend into an overall line, but new players start another line. End line could be same. Okay. I like these ideas. I thought the additional merfolk content was going to open romance, let us do farming underwater. It shouldn't require another game. Well, it's very vague on it, right? It says there's like 4 pieces of what the merfolk revamp is going to be on, right? So as far as how much you can get with the merfolk in the 1.0 now, how does it translate, I guess, to all this revamping and things like that? Does this fact make you not want to play Coral Island anymore? No, that doesn't make me not want to play Coral Island. I just want to talk about it because there's just something that we could prepare ourselves for, right? Absolutely. It's not like it's going to happen. It's not like it will happen. But I am interested to know how it will happen. And like I said, the game had a very rough launch on console. We know that. Stairway knows that. They've acknowledged it. When it does eventually release on Switch, you can probably guess there will probably be same problems, right? But hopefully, you know, it's not as rough as this has gone. Yeah. If another reset happens, then surely they will offer something to help speed up the process. Could be. Maybe they will just reset the ocean with the merfolk part. And see, if you say that, maybe they will reset the ocean with the merfolk part. If that was, and if that is true, why did we have to reset our entire farms from early access? What did they add in 1.0 that changed so drastically where we had to start over? Right? Yeah. If it's an additional storyline, an additional storyline, NPCs, areas, and things like that. I mean, with 1.0, what was added? I think what was added was there was additional items that were added. There was cutscenes that were added, right? Like, I don't know, how do you say it? Like I guess you could say like character cutscenes, character events that were added, right? I'm trying to think of like major things that were added that could potentially make you reset your save file, right? It's interesting indeed. Maybe the way they originally wrote it didn't allow to sub-create these new features, so they could add on and edit portions separately. And I hope that's the case. I really do. I was kind of more or less like, why did we have to reset 1.0 for our early access? And can that affect us going forward with other major storylines, whether it be the Savannah, whether it be not really children, but Savannah and like the merfolk? Those were the 2 things in my head. Savannah and merfolk. Savannah, not as much as the merfolk, but the merfolk I kind of blew up in my head because I was like, that's a lot of things that they're doing for the merfolk that we have yet to see. And I really hope that there isn't going to be like some, oh, by the way, if you want to play the merfolk save file, you will have to restart a new save file. And maybe that was the reason for 1.0 having New Game Plus features. Like, oh, New Game Plus could potentially be used in the future as well. I don't know. Anyways, it's just a discussion that I was more or less thinking of, or I guess something I was thinking of, and I wanted to know what some of y'all think. But yeah. Yep. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on, shall we? Let's do it.